This episode is made possible by our sponsor, Omega Bright Wellness. I've taken their omega-3 supplements for many years, and so has my wife, and that's why I invited them to sponsor my podcast. I'm proud to have them. You can find all of their products online at omegabrightwellness.com, and bright is intentionally misspelled B-R-I-T-E, omegabrightwellness.com. Hello and welcome to Distraction. I'm your host, Dr. Ned Hallowell, and I have a mini episode for you based on the idea of masking. You know, we're all wearing masks these days because of the pandemic. We walk around and put on our mask. I sometimes get out of my car and get all the way to the merchant's door before I think, oh my gosh, I can't go in there, I don't have my mask on. So it hasn't become automatic, but I'm in the habit of putting on a mask wherever I go. But it also seems metaphorical to me in the world of ADHD because a lot of us with ADHD, which I have myself, we've been wearing figurative masks since we were little boys and girls. We've been trying to pretend we're someone we're not or to cover up who we really are ever since as long as we can remember because we felt, our differences were unacceptable. That we were going to be shunned or ridiculed or in some other way avoided, not accepted, not embraced, not liked, rejected, the long list of words, for being who we are. So we found ways of concealing or changing or dressing up, turning ourselves into someone else, putting on a mask, figuratively, not being real. And I want to encourage you, particularly now that being different is becoming more and more okay. You don't have to be, as the phrase has it, neurotypical. You can be neuroatypical or neurodifferent or different period or fun, which is another word for all of that. I tend to avoid the jargon, but be yourself, be real. You have to, of course, we all have to dress up who we are a little bit. We have to put on clothes. It's not acceptable to walk around naked in most places. We, want to learn the basics of politeness and, just walk up to someone and say, give me $1 or, what do you like? Or, maybe you can, but in general, you want to learn some degree of savoir-faire. You want to learn some degree of politeness. You want some degree of manners. But, at the same time, if you're someone who isn't naturally polite, that's okay. Life will teach you the boundaries. Life will teach you the limits. And a lot of us appreciate someone who isn't just by the book. A lot of us appreciate someone who comes up and says something unexpected. I mean, that's sort of, more and more we're appreciating people who don't play everything right down the middle and by the rules. And the fact is, those of us with ADHD can't play it right down the middle and by the rules. I often say to my patients, don't try to be Joe Normal or Jill Normal because you can't, and you're trying to be is comical. You're trying to be Joe Normal or Jill Normal. You contort, you turn into someone completely other than who you are. You're trying to curtsy or something. You're trying to bow. You're trying to do things that just don't come naturally to you. Now, again, I'm not saying let it all hang out, act as if you're inebriated. I'm not saying that at all, but I am saying take your mask off. And then the people who respond well to you are the people you're going to want to stay with. And the people who don't are the people who you're going to want to avoid. Get out of the habit of trying to please everyone. A, you can't. And B, it's a colossal waste of time. It's just a terrible, life is too short. I'm 71 now, and I'm beginning to really appreciate my days are numbered. I hope I don't die for another 30 years, but, the statistics are that I probably will. And I want to really enjoy every minute. Like right now, talking to you, I'm wanting to enjoy this. In fact, I am enjoying this. But if I were just reading some script and, mailing it in, it wouldn't be any fun for me. And you don't want to do that in life. Don't read some script. Don't live someone else's life. Don't it's because your mother told you to be this way, or a school teacher told you to be this way, or somebody told you to be this way. Don't rob yourself of your originality. Don't rob yourself of your individuality. Sure, you have to trim it and tone it so that, you won't get arrested. It's not a good idea to break laws, but you can break social mores. Most of the advances over the past 50 years have been from breaking social mores and redressing racism, which we've got a lot of work yet to do, but we've come a long way, redressing gender differences and prejudices about that, and the difference that I specialize in, differences of the mind, the invisible differences. These are in many ways the most painful, because you're telling someone the way they are. The way they are is not acceptable, that they are too impulsive, they're too loud, they're too quiet, they're too one thing or another. Well, as long as you can get yourself within the broad bounds of acceptability, and they're much broader than most people think, then have at it. Live your life. Tom Brady had to get drunk to throw the trophy from one boat to the next, but it was the most likable he's ever been. I'm not saying go out and get drunk, but I think Tom Brady has felt under a lot of pressure to be Joe Normal, and he's the greatest athlete who ever lived, and he still felt under pressure to be Joe Normal. And, it was hard for him to say or do anything very individualistic other than play the best football that's ever been played. But it was so refreshing to see him throw that trophy when he was a little bit inebriated. He seemed like a regular person, not Joe Normal, but somebody who was acting out of the bonds of normal. It's not normal to take the Super Bowl Lombardi trophy and throw it from one boat to the next. He was anything but Joe Normal, but he was allowing himself to be real. He was allowing himself to do what he never would have allowed himself to do had he not had that little bit of avocado tequila, as he called it. So drink a little bit of avocado tequila if you need to, or just drink a little bit of the figurative avocado tequila, and give yourself the courage, the permission, the wonderful wings to fly on your own, to be who you are. For those of you who want to shoot you down, let them go bleep themselves, and for those of you who will be warmly received, then that's your landing spot. Land with people who like you, who appreciate you, and avoid the ones who don't. It's that simple. If you work for someone who doesn't appreciate who you are, it's time to start looking for another job. It just is. Don't quit on the spot because you got bills to pay, but start looking for another job. You're better than you think you are. I can promise you that. Almost everyone who would be listening to this podcast is better than they think they are. And the way to activate that side of you that is better than you think it is through testing out your fondest wishes, dreams, and desires. Give them a shot. Why not? As Marvel said, the grave's a fine and private place, but none, I think, do there embrace. You're not going to have a chance once you're in the grave to try any of these things out. So try it out. Be real. Take off your figurative mask. Of course, wear your real mask, but take off that other mask and see if you can't find an even more exciting, valuable, invigorating life for yourself. Throw that trophy to the boat across the way. This is Dr. Ned Hallowell with a mini episode of Distraction. All right, well, that's it for me for today. God, this sounds like it's my last rites. Well, that's it for me for today. Thanks so much to our sponsor, Omega Bright Wellness. Save 20% on your first order with the promo code DISTRACTION at omegabrightwellness.com. It's a great product. I love it. Remember to reach out to us with your questions and comments by emailing us at connect, the word connect, at distractionpodcast.com. And if you haven't heard, my new book that I co-wrote with John Ratey is out now. Get a copy of ADHD 2.0 by clicking the link in the show notes or by going to my website, drhallowell.com. You can also find it wherever, as the saying goes, books are sold. Distraction is created by Sounds Great Media. Our recording engineer and editor is the wonderful Scott Persson, and our producer is the equally wonderful Sarah Guertin. I'm the somewhat wonderful Dr. Ned Hallowell saying goodbye for now. The episode you just heard was made possible by my good friends at Omega Bright Wellness. I take their supplements every day, and that's why I invited them to sponsor my podcast. Shop online at Omega Bright, and that's BRITE wellness.com.